The Haunting of Château de Brissac, The Tragedy of La Dame Verte. In the heart of the scenic Loire Valley of France, surrounded by rolling vineyards and the gentle murmur of the river Loire, stands the imposing and magnificent Château de Brissac. With its towering spires, grand turrets, and lavish halls, this centuries-old castle is one of the tallest and most majestic châteaux in France. However, beneath its opulent beauty and regal facade lies a darker, more sinister side. For within the walls of Château de Brissac, it is said, wanders the restless spirit of a woman, known as La Dame Verte, or the Green Lady, whose tragic death centuries ago has left an indelible mark on the castle, transforming it into one of the most haunted places in France. The story of Château de Brissac begins in the 11th century when it was originally built as a fortress by the Counts of Anjou. Over the centuries, it changed hands numerous times and underwent several renovations, eventually becoming the grand chateau it is today. By the early 15th century, the castle had passed into the possession of Jacques de Brissac, a nobleman known for his wealth and power. Jacques married Charlotte de Valois, the illegitimate daughter of King Charles VII of France, and Agnes Sorel, the king's famous mistress. Their union, however, would lead to one of the most infamous and tragic events in the castle's long history. Though outwardly the marriage between Jacques and Charlotte seemed one of political advantage and stability, behind closed doors, their relationship was fraught with tension. Jacques, a stern and often distant man, was frequently away from the chateau, consumed with his duties and pursuits. Left alone in the vast, echoing halls of Château de Brissac, Charlotte grew restless, and before long, she found solace in the arms of another man. The identity of Charlotte's lover is not known for certain, but it is widely believed that he was one of the chateau's noble guests or perhaps a member of the household staff. Regardless of who he was, their affair did not go unnoticed for long. Servants whispered about late-night rendezvous in the castle's shadowy corridors and hidden chambers, and eventually, word of the affair reached Jacques de Brissac. Consumed by jealousy and rage, Jacques decided to confront his unfaithful wife. On a fateful night in 1477, Jacques returned to the chateau unexpectedly, hoping to catch Charlotte and her lover in the act. What he discovered was even more than he had anticipated. Sneaking through the dimly lit halls, Jacques followed the sound of hushed voices and soft laughter to one of the chateau's chambers. There, he found Charlotte and her lover in an intimate embrace. Enraged beyond reason, Jacques flew into a violent fury. He drew his sword and attacked the couple without hesitation, killing both Charlotte and her lover in a bloody and brutal act of revenge. Some say that Charlotte's death was particularly savage. Her body was found with multiple stab wounds, and her face was so mutilated that it was barely recognizable. After the murder, Jacques fled, leaving behind a scene of unspeakable horror and a chateau forever stained by the blood of betrayal. In the wake of the murders, Château de Brissac became a place of sorrow and dread. The scandal of the crime reverberated through the noble circles of France, but even more disturbing than the memory of the violent deaths were the stories of strange occurrences that began to plague the chateau soon after. Servants and visitors alike reported seeing the ghostly figure of a woman dressed in green, wandering the halls late at night. The figure, with her long, flowing gown and ethereal presence, was often spotted near the room where Charlotte had been murdered, as if her spirit was forever bound to the place of her tragic death. The Green Lady, as she became known, was not merely a fleeting apparition. Those who encountered her described her as a sorrowful yet terrifying presence. Her face, though obscured by a veil of shadow, was said to be mutilated beyond recognition, just as it had been in death. Her hollow eyes, black and devoid of life, seemed to stare into the souls of those who crossed her path. Some claimed that as she passed by, they could feel an icy chill in the air, as if death itself was lingering in her wake. But it was not only her appearance that struck fear into the hearts of those who encountered her. Many who spent the night in the chateau reported hearing her ghostly wails, echoing through the halls like the mournful cry of a lost soul. Her sobs would begin softly at first, barely audible, but as the night wore on, they grew louder, more desperate, until they filled the entire chateau with an overwhelming sense of despair. Those who heard her weeping often found themselves unable to sleep, consumed by an inexplicable feeling of sorrow and dread. The hauntings were not limited to the nighttime hours. Some guests claim to see the Green Lady during the day, wandering through the chateau's gardens or standing in front of a window, gazing out at the vast expanse of the Loire Valley. She would appear for only a moment, flickering in and out of sight, before vanishing as suddenly as she had come. Others reported the sensation of being watched while walking through the castle, as if unseen eyes were following their every move. One of the most chilling encounters with the Green Lady occurred in the chateau's chapel, a place where visitors often came to seek solace. According to legend, a nobleman staying at the chateau entered the chapel late one night, hoping to find peace in prayer. As he knelt before the altar, he suddenly felt a cold breeze sweep through the room, despite the heavy stone walls that should have blocked any drafts. He looked up to find the Green Lady standing in the doorway, her eyes fixed on him with an intensity that chilled him to the bone. Paralyzed by fear, he could only watch as she slowly moved toward him, her disfigured face a mask of sorrow and anger. When she reached the altar, she vanished into thin air, leaving the nobleman trembling and unable to speak of what he had witnessed. Despite the passage of centuries, the spirit of Charlotte de Valois, the Green Lady, remains a constant presence at Château de Brissac. Many believe that she is trapped in the chateau, bound by the violent nature of her death and the unresolved emotions of betrayal and loss. Her lover's spirit, however, has never been seen, leading some to speculate that while Charlotte's soul remains tethered to the place of her death, her lover may have moved on, or perhaps was consumed by the dark energy of the chateau itself. Over time, Château de Brissac has become a popular destination for those seeking to experience its haunted history firsthand. Paranormal investigators, ghost hunters, and thrill-seekers alike have flocked to the chateau, hoping to catch a glimpse of the Green Lady or hear the mournful wails that echo through its halls. Many have left with chilling stories of strange sightings, unexplained noises, and an overwhelming sense of unease that permeates the chateau. Even today, the current owners of Château de Brissac acknowledge the presence of the Green Lady. They speak openly of the hauntings, recounting the numerous stories of guests who have encountered the spirit during their stay. While some visitors come for the beauty and history of the chateau, others come specifically for the chance to experience the paranormal activity that has made the castle famous. Those who stay overnight often report feeling an inexplicable coldness in certain rooms, or the sensation of being watched by unseen eyes. But for all its dark history, Château de Brissac remains a place of striking beauty and grandeur, a testament to the opulence of the French nobility and the enduring power of legend. The Green Lady may haunt its halls, but her presence only adds to the chateau's mystique, drawing in those who are fascinated by the intersection of history, tragedy, and the supernatural. Château de Brissac stands today as both a historical landmark and a haunted relic, where the echoes of the past still resonate through its stone walls. The story of Charlotte de Valois, her doomed affair, and her brutal murder lives on in the form of the Green Lady, a restless spirit bound to the place of her death, forever wandering the halls in search of peace that may never come. For those who visit the chateau, it offers not only a glimpse into the grandeur of France's aristocratic past but also a chilling encounter with the ghostly remnants of a tragedy that time cannot erase.